the research that I'm working on, it centers around a case, a murder case that happened in 1992 in Chicago, and it involved 3 girls. One of them was 15, the other 16, one 21 years old, and they were gang members, and they ultimately were involved in the murder of 2 rival gang members. They were maniac Latin disciples. They killed 2 Latin kings, and so what had happened? Both of the gangs were Latin, and Puerto Rican was the descent of all the members. And so what had happened is the 15-year-old defendant, her name was Jacqueline Montanez, and she, she was charged along with the other co-defendants. She's actually the only female serving life in prison without the possibility of parole in the whole state of Illinois for a crime committed as a juvenile. And so, this case caught the attention of Northwestern University, and specifically their Bloom Clinic. It's their legal innocence clinic. And so that's just a little bit of background about how I got involved in the case. And so this study that we've done, it's the argument that we make is that Jacqueline Montanez was characterized in such a way during the investigation and then during her trial that overruled any kind of legal protections or considerations for a juvenile. And ultimately it led to the sentencing her to life in prison without possibility of parole. And so what I kind of wanted to show you here is we are centering some of this research around Ann Jones' historical account of how females are characterized in the courts. You know, and they're either a fiend or they're a lady. And so I've got something I'll read you here. Research on females who murder finds they are labeled in the media and courtroom as either good or bad, angels or fiends. Angels are ladylike, their innocence is invisible, their violence is forgivable, even justified. They're often white and attractive and hold media attention. Fiends, on the other hand, are condemned as monstrous, unnatural. Their violence violates every principle of a woman's nature, and they're irredeemable and should be locked away and, above all, forgotten. And so what we're looking at is just the power of this demonizing frame that was given to Jacqueline Montanez. And there's just sort of this nagging question that we have, like while the media and the courts had framed Montanez and had sort of framed her actions as very unusual and incomprehensible, nobody bothered to say, you know, well, wait a second, she's a 15-year-old girl, what is going on here? You know, nobody asked that. And there's some media accounts, and of course during her trial, you know, they bring that up and they'll be like, what the hell is going on? But then they stop there, and there's sort of no further explanation of that. So, let's see. So what we found is that the media frames, they definitely originated, a lot of the language originated during the trial. And so that same language was just used over and over and over throughout the media coverage. And pretty much what I had done, the method of the study was to take the legal documents for her case and also the media coverage, which included, of course, local media and then also national media. And specifically, there was a Gangland episode that featured her. And I think that it pretty much gives you the visual summation of how she was characterized. And what I'm about to show you here is a clip that was used during her trial. And this clip was, it was called the main piece of evidence against her, and it was sort of touted as being this lie detector and as being this confession, you know, saying that she's just this monster and she's proud of what she's done and she's smiling and look at her, look how evil she is, let's lock her away and throw away the key. And so before I show you this clip, I'll sort of give you a little snippet from her trial, just to give you sort of a context of how she was being characterized. So addressing the judge, one of the state's attorneys, assistant state's attorneys at her trial said, Jacqueline Montanez stands 15 years old, but she's filled with hate beyond her years. She's a cold, calculating, vicious murderer who who showed no remorse at her trial and believed today shows no remorse about what happened. She planned and perpetrated a crime by luring the victims with the promise of a good time, she and her fellow gang members got together and went on that mission. And when they executed the victims, they executed them in a manner that Al Capone would be proud of. Jacqueline Martinez has become the team queen of criminals. She stands 15 years old, but by her actions, she's a seasoned veteran. And so this, let's see. I pulled it up on the internet and then I have it on here. I'm not sure exactly how to, oh wait, here we go. So what this is this was right after she was interrogated, and this is going to be just right outside the interrogation room. Some of the news crews were there. And that's something that kind of bothers me about this, is that, you know, it was a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. and she's on the second floor of an office building of not a police station, but a special victims unit sort of police area, but nobody asked why, like, why are there news crews there at 8 in the morning on a Thursday, you know? So. She's on the right, Jacqueline Martinez. So basically what this is to show is that, you know, she's still flashing her signs. She's still sort of campaigning for the gang, and, you know, she's too far gone. She's, you know, she's disturbing. She's a monster, and so this is what this is to show. Okay, so that's one of the victims there. But what we found in this analysis is that she was not only individually characterized, or her individual identity was just sort of constructed, but what we also found is that she was elevated into this this metaphor for this three-pronged social problem. Like, she not only represents increasing female violence, but youth violence too, and gang violence also. And so she, you know, she's this triple whammy, and because of that, you know, all the more reason to just throw away and or throw away the key, lock her away. And so in 2007, that's when Northwestern Bloom Clinic had started to sort of investigate her case, and what they had found is a very, very different frame, or actually the sort of information that was never brought up, the unchallenged, just like incomplete information. So what they had found is that she was repeatedly raped by her drug-dealing gang stepfather, beginning when she was 7 years old. She ran away many times as the sexual and physical abuse had persisted, and she sought refuge in the gang. It was really the only people who would, you know, take her in, feed her, give her shelter. She joined the gang when she was 12 years old. And then the NU lawyers, they're pretty much, you know, just looking into what wasn't said and why the crime occurred. And ultimately, it's shaping a clemency petition to present to the governor in April. And so we're part of that. And so what I wanted to show you here was what we're working on, is the counter frame. It's the counter narrative. It's not this dominant monster. You know, it's like she was a human being. And so we've got an interview of her. It was about a 45-minute interview over the phone, and then some pictures of her with her cousins and her family and stuff. And so it'll show you just a little bit of what, you know, she said and who she is and who she is today. She's, you know, she's not this 15-year-old defiant teenager. She's a 34-year-old woman, and I visited her several times, and she's you know, had long conversations with her, and we're not trying to say that she didn't do it. She's innocent. She should not be accountable for what she did. She's definitely guilty, but what we're arguing is that the process of how it happened, and do we agree that we should have that standard of integrity for justice, especially for juveniles, and also, is it appropriate to lock them away like they've done for her? Okay, so Just some of the early years, this is something that she had said, that she woke up screaming every morning. She thought it was normal, the way that she was living. She said she'd wake up to being beat up, or watching her parents shoot up, or she delivered drugs for her father, or she was raped. She would cook drugs for her father, she'd bag them. But then she also said there was times that they were loving, that her family was very loving, her father was loving, but the price of it was her body or being beat up. And so this is what she said about being in the gang.